Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. The new evolution of people on the internet talking about retro games. The only difference is here, we're talking about every game. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to November of 1981. We last left off with Zork 2, the sequel to Zork. This is one of the best interactive fiction games you could play at the time in 1981. And with that, let's move on to our next release. After Zork, we come to the latest in PC-compatible, PC booter, IBM, anything that can be played, we just lump it all in with MS-DOS. And anybody remember the commercials that featured Charlie Chaplin trying to sell the original IBM PC? Because this is the year it was released. And there it is, an example of what you would see on television for the IBM. And today we're going to showcase, or start showcasing, more examples of the flood of the market, not just with home computers, but also with consoles, because there's a lot out there. And this is Meteor, which was released in November of 1981. I don't believe we have any artwork, except that one example of an arcade game using character graphics. Yeah, that's all we got as far as artwork for Meteor. So kind of obscure one there. Any other options? We do not. All right, let's pop it in and see what Meteor is all about. Here we go, coming from internal speaker. Oh man, that's loud. Do you want directions? Sure. How do you play Meteor? Erase the blanks before falling arrows hit you. The cursor controls the happy face moving. The other keypad keys stop the happy face. Each erased blank scores points, 10 points, and each erased arrow erased scores 2 points. You're hit if the arrow strikes you within the shaded area, and it shows an example of the happy face. Gotta be a public domain or homebrew game that was released at some point in November, but you could play it on your IBM PC. All right, so hit any key to proceed. Here we go. Got it. I'm using the cursor keys, and I move the. I'm moving a happy face around. The arrows that come down are, coming into smash, but then you can see that your happy face dies whenever the arrows hit you. Do we want to play again? Sure, let's do it. This is just controlling the happy face to move around. It's almost like they're flooding the screen with ASCII characters. You just can't hit it whenever and then it resets. Alright, well, I wouldn't expect anything to sound any better than that on the IBM PC at the time. That is an example of just using something fun to remove the characters from the screen, and it works for the most part. So for game versions, I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's an example of a very simple game that you could play for the time. So I'm going to go for 2.5 stars because it's doing what we've seen with other arcade games as well. So 2.5 stars for Meteor. A very noble attempt of that. If anyone captured Bubsy in the chat, yes. We're not going to say it's the best game of 1981. So let's see what our next release is after Meteor. We're now going to the Apple II, another home computer, and this is Torpedo Fire. Let's take a look at the box for Torpedo Fire. So there you go, a computer simulation game. Yes, another one by SSI, Strategic Simulations Incorporated. And this is going to be another strategy game, most likely. Yes, the murky depths of treacherous waters. The battleground of this computer simulation game of submarine warfare. So this is the latest in submarine warfare. And the back of the box is displaying, I guess, what you would see as the coolest screenshots for a strategy game. You can see a three-dimensional bird's eye view of a convoy to escort the commander's submarine, sighted in the lower right corner. And then looks like they're trying to show a little bit more of the graphics rather than just the text of that one. All right, so let's see what other artwork we have for this. Looks like just the disc of Torpedo for the 5 1/4 floppy disk. We have a manual on the Apple II. Very excited for a strategy manual finally. Here we go. Torpedo Fire's manual, the rule book. Oh man, how large is this? Okay, it's not too large. Anything by SSI is for those wanting to dive deep into a strategy game, something hardcore for the computer, and spend weeks, maybe even months playing games. So there you go. Copyright 1981. Torpedo Fire is a tactical level game featuring combat between submarines and escorts surrounding the convoys of World War II. So it's a World War II simulation game. Battle stations are sounding. As the commander of the American sub, you have spent days in the Pacific before finally moving your first Japanese convoy, and now you're in position to blow it apart. Meanwhile, as commander of Japanese destroyer, you realize that you're in waters where American subs are known to prowl. Can you protect your convoy from this menace? Oh yes, it is that 1981 classic strategy game that we've seen lots of times from SSI. So this is, if you were kind of the history buff and wanted to play something more realistic, historical, this is the one to go for. You can see they have the description of the action. How do you talk to the computer? After you type a command, you push the return key. Okay, that's good to know. Saving the game, all the map coordinates, and then they give examples of, oh yeah, where your submarine bearings are going to be in 360 degrees. Incredible. So they explain everything that we got in the box, and this comes with game box, rule book, 5 1/4 game disc, 2 map board charts, 2 ship data cards, a shipyard card, and a 180-degree protractor. That's right, in the box came a protractor. We're now beginning to get these big box computer releases that have a lot of stuff inside to really give you the best enjoyment of the home computer game. It also has passwords that you'll have to put in, and this has ship turns, nice terms that like the bird's eye view, the port and starboard, bow and stern, and then it's showing all the examples of the types of ships and their perspectives of what you would see on the screen. So not only is this going to be an historical game, but it's also a very technical and detailed game, wanting to give you the most realistic submarine simulator that you could get in 1981. All right, so Torpedo Fire is designed to be a 2-sided game. The surface side commands the convoy of tankers and freighters and escort ships. The submarine side commands the submarines. The sub side may be commanded by the computer or a human. Both sides enter orders from their ships, and the computer then processes the orders, with this sequence being repeated until the game is over. So I don't know if anyone would have a nerdy enough friend that would want to play a tactical submarine game back in 1981, but if you did, this would be the one to do it. Most of the time, you'd be doing this solo. So you can see us going through all the different commands. And if you've tuned in on the channel and seen the other episodes of strategy games we played for the home computer, oh man, we usually couldn't play them because we didn't have a manual. You have to know what commands to type in. And here we go. This is a manual. We know the commands we get to type in. We can actually play Torpedo Fire. So it's going through combat, how that works. The complexity of this game, though, is going to be very difficult to do just a taste in 1981. But you can see as I'm scrolling through the manual, it's going through all the details of how to play this tactical strategy game. It would be an awesome game to play with another player. I wonder how difficult the computer would be at the time, because it's got to be crazy. All right, so we'll go ahead and close the manual there and refer back to it if we need to. For other versions, we have not all the pieces, but we have some of the pieces. We have one of the map board charts, and you can see here it's giving commands, but oh my gosh, movement commands. MDCTT is to continue on present course for that however many seconds it is. And then look at all the fire commands you have to put in. Wow. So detailed for 1981. And then they have, looks like this is the number of degrees you can turn your submarines. Yeah, there you go. Turning ability for different classes of ships. And the other thing we also have is a ship data card, which just breaks down, you can see here the types of ships that are in the game. United States, the Benson, for Germany, Japan, and convoy ships. And then you can see down here in the bottom notes, they show what all the different abbreviations is, because this is 1981. They're not going to give you the full name of these ships. And you just have to say, okay, what ship is this? What's the DC? Oh, that's the number of depth charges on the screen. So very technical, very detailed, presented very well by SSI. All right, so with that, let's pop it in and see what Torpedo Fire's like. It is November 5th, 1981. And we're checking out the latest release by SSI. And most likely going to fast forward this. Okay, not too bad. So there's the title screen, and here we go. Gives us our options of what we want to play. Let's start with the introductory scenario, because I'm looking down the others. Restart the game, you save. We don't have a game. We can create new scenarios, which is kind of cool, and then play a scenario that you've created, and then the read last minute errata. I'm not sure what that one is. All right, so we're going with the introductory scenario. What is that like? Do you want to play against a human or a computer? I'm a little scared to play against a computer, so we're playing human torpedo fire. You want to do a day or night scenario? That's pretty cool. Let's do day scenario. Do you wish the beginner's option? Yes. Yes, we want beginner's option. Okay, subside, enter 2-letter password. Surface side, turn away. Oh no, the game has copy protection. So this is not a cracked Apple II game. The majority of the ones we played are cracked, so we don't have to go through this. This means we'd have to have, it says subside, enter 2-letter password. I don't know if we have that. We have the ship data card. Does it have passwords on here? I'm just checking to see passwords for this. No, I don't think we have the piece in the box you would need to play the game. I don't believe it. We have all the paperwork for one of our first Apple II games on Chronologically Gaming, and we have a password that we need to play the game. Just to see if it does work, let's try putting in, what, 2-letter password? No. Okay, it looks, I was going to see if it was still going to work. I tried QQ. Oh, maybe it is going to work. I don't know. Oh, it looks like it restarted. Darn. Okay, so we are not able to dive into Torpedo Fire, but a very detailed game for in 1981. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and give this one above average. Now, for the time, this was regarded as one of the best sub-tactical games you could play. So we're going to go 4 stars for Torpedo Fire. Sadly, because even though we didn't get a chance to play it ourselves, but this is a game we wouldn't be able to have just a taste of. It's a game that you could spend a few days on just getting used to how to play the game if it was in 1981. All right, so 4 stars for Torpedo Fire. Let's see what our next release is. After Torpedo Fire, we have Make Trax in the arcade, and we played the other one earlier, which, if I just scroll back up, it was only, yeah, there we go, Crush Roller. So the first release was Crush Roller by, I believe, Taito in the arcades in Japan, and so now we're getting the worldwide release of Make Trax. So let's take a look at the artwork for Make Trax. This is Williams. Yes, we got 2 different advertisement flyers with different arcade cabinets on the front. I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same game, but they're just marketing it differently. Destined to make its marks on the video game industry. Did it make it mark? Does anyone remember Make Trax? Anyone? And there's the arcade cabinet for Make Trax, or what it would have been for worldwide release, most likely North America for where I am. And then for controls, very simple, kind of like Pac-Man, up, down, left, and right, using a 4-way joystick. And there's our arcade marquee for Make Trax. And we saw this Crush Roller. Crush Roller was using the name of one of the power-ups where you could blaze through and knock out the enemy. Because the idea is you're just painting the top-down maze of the... there we go. There's the top-down maze. You're just trying to paint everything, clear it all away. Very similar formula as Pac-Man, but just done a little different. And let's see what different versions. No, just 2 different sets. All right, here we go. We're in the arcades. It's November 10th, 1981, and this is Make Trax. And there we go, with our arcade marquee at the top and the tracks on either side. We have really tiny on the side, on the right side here, of introduction of how to play. But we got the idea. We played a little Crush Roller, so we're just going to play a little bit from the Make Trax version. Here we go. Let's put a coin in and push and start. This is the beginning of the flood of top-down maze games or Pac-Man variants. This really wouldn't see as a complete Pac-Man variant, but we're going to see a lot using this formula. And the other one we saw that was a fairly good one was Lock and Chase. And for this one, all you're trying to do is paint everything. And you have a power-up called the Crush Roller. Oh, I forgot about the 2 dimensions there. Let's see if we can go over the top there. Oh man, I can't believe I'm making it. So there's the Crush Roller. And we're going to squeeze through this side. They got some really nice animations of like a kitty cat, some mouse on the side. And then we got this... oh well, I guess I didn't beat Make Trax. Dun 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 dun. But great formula, keeping the music going, sound effects going, similar to Pac-Man. Still feels good. Oh no, the cat's out. And there it is, the cat's making tracks. And you're just supposed to cover him over and get more points for him. There it is. Yeah, so you just paint over the top of the tracks the cat makes. Looks like cat is good for now, but there is different creatures. You see, there's a bird and a truck and different things on the sides, and each one, oh yeah, the AI is pretty smart, but you're supposed to use the three-dimensional aspect of the maze. This is the first one that we've seen that's using like a layer where you have a bridge that can go underneath, and the formula we're going to see is going to be, it's going to show up in another game called Sinbad. Does it let me? Oh, that's right. We got to go do up. That's right. Because you only have the joystick. There's no button on this one. But putting your initials in, that's awesome. Love it. All right, there we go. That's a make track. Since we played Crush Roller, we'll just do a little bit of make tracks. But same thing that we gave before. Crush Roller, I believe, was... Oh no, I think I messed up the... We'll scroll through the entire of 1981. Oh my gosh. One false move. There you go. I believe Crush Roller was 4 stars. That's right. All right, so for this one, we'll give this the same 4 stars for Make Tracks. Very well done game. Definitely above average for the time in 1981. And after that, let's see what our next release is.
Looking for a powerful home computer? This is the one. Texas Instruments.
All right, so from one home computer to another, this is TI Invaders for the TI-99. And if you're asking yourself, why is Bill Cosby trying to sell us the Texas Instruments 99? Well, first of all, it's 1981. And second of all, there's a lot of home computers out there. And so they're doing everything they can to try to sell you, this is the one for you. You need to have the Texas Instruments home computer.
This is the one.
This is the one. The Texas Instruments computer, of course.
This is the one.
All right, so let's take a look at the artwork for the TI Invaders. So this is Invaders or Space Invaders coming to your Texas Instruments computer. So for box, the way they do this is they actually have a sleeve over the top of all Texas Instruments games, and then underneath it is the game with the way you're going to play it. This one even has a price tag on the top right corner. $12.95 for TI Invaders. And any other things we have for artwork? Let's see. There's our cartridge, which one of the best draws of the Texas Instruments computer is the cartridges, kind of like a home console. And an example of a screenshot, but not too much there. We do have a manual for this one, which is nice. So here we go. This is the manual would be what you would see behind the sleeve of the cartridge. And you can see we had 2 different versions. There's or 2 different cartridges. This is the manual cover, and it says a solid state cartridge. Numerous downright nasty space creatures challenge your survival instincts when they attack your world. Try to destroy these swarming invaders before they demolish your missiles. Oh yes, everyone was doing the Space Invaders. So we have different key sequences, moves missiles across the playing field, and then we have fires, missiles. Oh, okay, if you didn't have the joystick plugged in, I guess. We're going to have a joystick, so we won't need those controls. But starting a new game, and you can see they have the keyboard controls for the TI-99. You can see we have redo and back and quit. These are all on the computer themselves. And if you have a wired remote controllers, move the lever to maneuver the missile and press the fire button. Who knew? Left, right, and fire. Just like in the arcades. And then over here it has the solid state software, which TI did that a lot. I call it solid state software to let you know it's not a disc or a cassette tape you're playing on. Programmed by Texas Instruments Personal Computer Division. And so scrolling down, what's the introduction? Your world's under attack. They're doing the stories like they did in the Atari manuals. Oh, that's true. Looking in the chat, I saw you with the packaging similar to the Coco. Thanks for that feedback. So the world's under attack by downright nasty creatures from the black pit of space, and it's up to you, of course it is, to save the world from this hostile horde. Your goals are to attack and destroy the invaders and shoot down the yellow control ship. It's Space Invaders. Need we say more? So they have a 1-player game, and is that it? We do have ability for 2 people to play, and we've seen other great 2-player games on the TI-99. I don't see an option for it, at least in this part of the manual. using the TI Invaders command module. Like all TI games, and this is one of the first manuals we've seen on the channel. Whenever you would plug it in, it shows the screenshot at the top right. You push any computer, and then you select either basic, TI basic, or you go into the game. And so, yeah, explain how to use the diskette. And every time we play on the TI, it's always going to be cartridge. That's the one that I got to work correctly and the best and fastest. So after you get started, you pick the skill level, and then how do you play the game? How do you play Space Invaders? Do we really need this many paragraphs to explain it? I hope not. If it's using the joystick, we should be good. Object of the game is to score as many points as possible. Yes, yes it is. And then all creatures have been destroyed. Red spaceship goes across the screen. Oh, interesting. It might be... Oh, it looks like it might be... I was thinking, getting excited that there's a boss, but it's not really a boss. And then we also have, when the game ends, you can go redo, which is one of the commands on the keyboard. And then how to care for your module. Please care for your TI module. So they're ended up being something we can play in the future. All right, so the rest is just warranty info. All right, let's pop it in the cartridge and play. It is November 12th, 1981, and this is TI Invaders for your TI-99. All right, so this is the command module screen, and then right after that we want to play TI Invaders, so we push 2 on the keyboard, and just like that you're in the game. Love it. It gives us point values of the different creatures. Hit the yellow saucer in the center for maximum points. Extra missile base awarded at 3,000 points, and there's our options. Do we want merely aggressive or downright nasty? Really cool that they didn't just say easy, medium, and hard. I like that. So we'll start with merely aggressive. So pushing 1, and yep, just like that, we're in. Joystick works great. Left, right, fire. A great home release of Space Invaders. Looks so good on the TI and plays so well on the TI too. But I mean, this is a formula we've seen tons of times. At this point, there's more clamoring for getting Pac-Man to come home, and we've already seen a few releases of that on the home computer, like Apple. And we're going to see others, they call it different names, but Atari 2600's already brought for the console world Space Invaders home, and then we also saw it on their home computer, the Atari 800. So this is another version of Space Invaders. At least they're not really trying to hide it with another name. This one actually says TI Invaders, which I didn't see any licensing, like it was licensed as an actual Space Invaders game or not. All right, so just to be curious, I really want to see what the downright aggressive looks like. So we're going to pop it in again and play. And I could have hit redo on the keyboard. I didn't have my commands up that time. There we go. All right, so here we go. Going in again. Now we're going to try downright nasty. So pushing 2 on the keyboard. And, oh wow, yeah, the shots are so fast. But as far as movement, it moves the same as it did before. The original novelty of Space Invaders was it was programmed to play with a certain number of aliens on the screen, or sprites on the screen. And the only reason it sped up is because you're killing the enemy, so it got faster and faster. It originally was like a bug. But now all these computers that we're playing on, it's not a problem. It's not that it's going too slow because there's that many sprites on the screen. Because that was all the way back in 1978, and here we are in 1981. It's amazing we got this far, but that is a really good home version of TI Invaders for the home computer. All right, so with that, let's definitely give that one above what we've seen before. Just bear in mind that we've seen Space Invaders on different consoles, but that version's pretty good. So it's above average for other games we've seen for the time. It's using an easy formula. We've seen this before. So I'm going to go with 3.5 stars for TI Invaders. It didn't have a lot of options, but it's still it's slightly above average. And with that, what else could be our next game after TI Invaders? Oh, we're going to a new magazine. So this is the very first release of Computer Gaming World, or CGW. This is one of the competitors of PC Gamer, which was a more popular magazine in North America. And this is the very first release in November. This is a November and December release in 1981. So for all those PC gamers that want to see more coverage of the strategy games, tactical games, and games that aren't trying to deal with arcade or action, this is it. Computer Gaming World was the magazine for you. You can see right off the top, they're really going to hit on role-playing games or adventure games, text adventure games. And here we go. The first ad of Computer Gaming World is the 2 new games from SSI for Apple and TRS-80, and that's Battle of Shiloh, which we've seen, and Battle of Bulge, Tigers in the Snow, which we've also seen. So these are 2 that we've seen. Excellent tactical strategy games, but kind of for a niche genre. They play typical for a tactical strategy game because SSI is one of the few that's wanting to tackle these kinds of games. Take a board game genre and then send it to the home computer. All right, so we're going to breeze through the table of contents because we're just going to go through each one of these with advertisements in Computer Gaming World. So this is the first issue of CGW in November of 1981. So the editor is starting off with letting everyone know about what this magazine is, like what's the point of it. So he really wanted, this is Russell Sipe. He's wanting to point out that there's a lot of magazines out there that talk about software applications, and he really wanted a magazine that gives you the gamer side of it, and more of the nerds that love the role playing and the tactical games and the games that take a long time to play, not just something quick. And that's the point of Computer Gaming World, at least right now in 1981. And then right after the editor's note, they have some industry news. So they're working on Sorcerer of Siva, Jabbertalky, which is a game we're going to see later. And then you can see SSI has Battles of Shiloh, Tigers in the Snow released. And then Computer Quarterback, which I believe we've already seen that one. And Computer Baseball. You have strategy games or managing games of football and baseball. And then we have Alchemstone that's coming out. Escape from Arcturus, which we've already seen. The Green Plague, haven't seen that one yet. So a lot of things that are going to be coming down the pipeline in the computer gaming world. And this article is pretty cool. This is the future of war gaming. Because it's 1981, we've seen people take the games that came on mainframe computers and then convert them into something that you could digest on a PC or any home computer, Apple, TRS, what have you. And this is talking about what's going to happen to the future of these kind of games. Because the big idea is the computer, we want them to calculate everything for us. So there's nothing written down. We don't have to get a notepad. And that's why it was a big draw for role-playing games to come to the home computer. And this article talks about what's it going to be like in the future when, like they give an example here in the top right, that the automobile was seen as a horse-driven carriage with no horses and an engine attached to the wheels. And they called it a horseless carriage. And so now he's talking about that the computer world is seen as like a board game player of something else. And so he's predicting that in the future, we're not going to call it that. We're not going to say we're playing a board game like Risk on our computer. It's going to be its own thing. And it's true. It has changed to that. So they're talking about the history of personal computers, and then hardware like powerful enough to do the computations you need for these kinds of games. And then the capabilities of the home computer, like why are these board games or games that were originally played like war games on a tabletop, and then why are they transferring to home computers? Like, what's the point of that? But we know why. You don't have to get all the pieces out, and it's supposed to be doing it for you, making it easier to play those games. All right, so after that article, we have a really cool ad for Castle Wolfenstein. First ad we've seen. We've already checked this one out on the channel. Excellent game, one of the best games you could play at the time. And one of the big reasons I'd say Castle Wolfenstein is there is because it's implementing things we haven't seen done for any game. It's doing things that a strategy game or something that involves lots of numbers or a user interface, but it's slightly action. You actually can see the character moving around, a really large character moving around the screen. So well done, Silas Warner. Amazing accomplishment. All right, so they're also going to go, the same article is going through programmers. Like, are they really good enough to bring war games home? And at this time, the sticklers for war games like Risk would say that the programmers are not good enough, because to play it yourself on a tabletop is the experience is way better, more complicated than programmers could. But we're going to see that change, definitely. All right, so yeah, he's asking which machines are going to dominate the computer war game industry. And so he's saying the PET and TRS are on the running. Apple II dominates the market at present. And however, the greater power of the Atari, which Atari 400 and 800 are there, So he's saying it's going to take 2 or 3 years from introduction from a machine for an industry to produce adequate stock of software. Thus, the next generation will not be a significant market force for at least 2 years. That's his prediction. Ha! Nice. Okay, so scrolling through our next one, we also have, hey, it's Torpedo, it's Torpedo Fire, the game we just played. So this is the review of Torpedo Fire. What was it like? Well, we couldn't play it on the channel, so here's the review of what he says Torpedo Fire is. So I'm going to go down to the synopsis. He's going through like an example of how to play it, like his experience whenever he did play it. And like reviews at the time, there's no ratings. It just talks about what the game is. Lots of information from their point of view. And then they go through the graphics as well. I want to see if they have the feel of the game, how it feels to them, and the introductory scenario, and then conclusion. There we go. Torpedo Fire represents the leading edge in computer war games as of early 1981. Although extremely well conceived, the concepts could have been better implemented. It's easy to think of things that would be nice to add to Torpedo Fire, and he's kind of speaking like with the hoity-toity strategy game aficionados back then would have wanted more detail, and said that the computer couldn't hold up to what you would experience yourself as a war game. And it's true, because we already seen the user interface is a little slow and clunky, even though we're playing on something faster. I wanted to scroll back up to this. This is a quick article on what's a simulation. What's the definition of a simulation? Because that's one of the things this magazine hits on. A war game is a kind of historical simulation and should therefore bear a resemblance to historical events. And we've seen that with Waterloo and different World War II games on the channel. But it's funny they break it down of what the definition is in the magazine. All right, so after that, let's see. This is another review for Robot War, the one that Silas Warner made, where you program robots and you put them on the field to fight. Thanks so much for the feedback, L. Curtis B. Love it. And so I'm going to scroll through Robot War because it's a very large review of what the game is and what it means for the industry. And they even have an example of the robot that the reviewer programmed in. So if you wanted to, you could put the program in and see what his robot is like on yours. But this is what I wanted to point out. Computer Gaming World has a Robot War tournament. If you tuned into the episode where we checked out Robot War, it is you programming a robot. You have to know all the commands. Almost like programming a video game, you program a robot and then you let it loose. So you don't control the robot. You tell it all the commands it needs to do, and then you just stick it on other robots and see how well it goes. But for this tournament, you send in your robot program to this address and include a brief description of the robot, what it's designed to do, 1 entry per person, and then in case you're a winner, you can get a free T-shirt, I guess. But this is you sending in physical code on a disc and sending it to this tournament, and then they fight the robots against each other to see who wins. So cool. It's like a sneaker wear LAN party, I guess. All right, so then we have some other ads for Sword Thrust, which we've checked out. Mission Escape, not yet, and Wall Street we have on the channel. And then we have the B-1 nuclear bomber strategic map, because this is one we've seen pretty early on the Commodore PET. I think that's the first release we saw. This is another game where you are dealing with mostly text to decide where the bombs are going to go and how it's going to play out. And so this is a mapped out view. So for all the nerds that played B-1 nuclear bomber, this is like a must-have of the game, because they didn't have a really good graphical representation of everything that happened in B-1 nuclear bomber. All right, so after that one, we have going into Air Force mission planning, or basically using how the Air Force is using computers right now. I don't believe they're talking about a game. Camp system? No, I don't think so. And here we go. This is Crush, Crumble, and Chomp. Another strategy game, believe it or not. And it's interesting because this article is saying how it's kind of clunky with the way that you let me go down to where it talks about the end result of what they believe Crush, Crumble, and Chomp is about. Oh, I think I already passed it. So it's going through several different ones. Yeah, that's the political one. So here we go. In Crush, Crumble, and Chomp, the monster that you can enter your command at the keyboard, unlike arcade games, you have a perfect correlation between player and screen time. But here you have to be careful what orders you give, because sometimes you can slowly turn the monster around. And when we checked out Crush, Crumble, and Chomp, it was the very first one on the Apple II, and there's other home computers that we will see that have the manuals of the commands. But it is not where you think you're going to control the monster moving around. No, you just say turn left, turn right. And you tell it what commands you want to say. Kind of like when we played the Temple of Apshai games and Hellfire Warrior. It's the same idea. So kind of rough. And it's interesting seeing that in 1981, they're saying, this is really kind of hard to play, so just be ready. So even in 1981, they understood how crazy it was. All right, and this one is President-Elect, which is a political simulation game, which we will be checking out at some point. A lot of these is hard to pin down exactly when they were released, so we'll see them at the end of 1981. And then we have the greatest baseball team of all time, another game where you are, it's a stat-based baseball game. And if you're really, really old school gamer, you know that on mainframe computers, you would have to type in all the information of a player, and then the computer would print out those on a teletype system of what was happening for the game. So it's at this point, it's revolutionary. You're getting faster results than a teletype. And then we have an ad for Odyssey, the Complete App Venture, which I still have had no one explain why it's pronounced that way other than marketing, I guess. So they're a synergistic software. I really enjoyed it. This is one of a really cool and ingenious game for the time. So check that out if you got a sec to see Odyssey. And then we have some quick reviews for Dragon's Eye, Eastern Front, and you notice there's not a lot of pictures in these magazines. We're going to see the evolution of how these are advertising about video games to the masses. Mind Thrust, Mission Escape, so lots of different quick reviews. And there's the quick review of Odyssey, which is the same one. Yeah, and then we got Reversal and Time Traveler, and then we have some information about Griffin Publishing Company. And then this is for all Dungeon Masters. Apple II computers, your deepest, most reaches in your imagination. Which game is this, though? Is it a 2-page ad? Techion's the company. All right, I don't get that ad. All right, so after Computer Gaming World. So this is the very first issue for all those aficionados that want something more deep about strategy games. There you go. All right, so after that, let's see what our next one is.
This kid just got a video game for Christmas. He can look forward to.
All right, it is Star Chaser, the Chronologically Gaming's first game for the Commodore VIC-20. It was released in 1981, and this is the first game that I could find as a verifiable. This is when an actual game came out for the VIC-20. Lots of application software and tons of software for this one. We're going to see a lot of games for the VIC-20. So this is the, not really a genuine sequel to the Commodore PET, because there's lots of models for the PET. This is different architecture than the PET, but this is our very first game on the VIC-20. Let's take a look at the box, which is funny because it's in cassette form, and there you go. It's Canadian Tire. Who knew they made video games, right? But it has several games on here. We're going to be checking out just one of them. And this is just going to be Star Chaser. So lots of different games that were on this cassette. For different images, I think that's all we got. Yeah, that's about it. For artwork. And I wanted to show off this ad because it is pretty funny.
Some games along the way, and maybe even
oh, okay, it looks like it doesn't go full. That's fine.
Final argument for the VIC-20. Someday, both kids will be looking for a job.
It's almost like it's an attack at Atari, because he's holding the Atari joystick.
This kid just got a Commodore VIC-20 home computer.
But no, this kid has the VIC-20, and he's not just going to be playing games. No.
Doing his own programs.
Oh yes, writing his own programs.
Along the way, and maybe even inventing his own games.
Oh, and inventing his own games, yes.
Someday, both kids will be looking for a job.
And this is a year before they got William Shatner to do the advertising. This is just for 1981, so released in 1980, and then in majority of regions in 1981. So for different versions, we have Yeah, we're going to be playing the one on Commodore. So here we go, our first time playing the Commodore VIC-20. Let's go. Yeah, the Canadian Tire Company makes me think of Calixto. You know, originally was the Connecticut Leather Company. Who knew they'd play video games, right? All right, there we go. We got it up. So, first thing is how to play, which is nice. They give us instructions. We move the diamond to wipe out the stars. You have 60 seconds to use these keys. I, J, and M. Hit any key to begin. And if you look down at your keyboard, if you got one around, I, J, and M's like a clumped together up, down, left, and right, basically. And there we go. We're playing it. Star Chaser for our Commodore VIC-20. And it's just moving up, down, left, and right. And that's all you're doing. You're moving a diamond around and you're collecting the asterisks. And that is it. That's the game. Maybe it was programmed by that kid in the commercial. And there you go, our very first Commodore VIC-20 game on Chronologically Gaming. So for the time, it is, I guess if it had a compilation with everything on the disc, then it would be a good game. But we're going to say it's bad. It is running around collecting something. So I'm going to say 2 stars for Star Chaser. The rest of everything else on the compilation we'll be seeing at some point in 1981. With that, let's move and press forward with our next release after Star Chaser.
Looking for a powerful home computer?
Oh, it's Bill Cosby again. No, we don't want to buy a TI-99. We already got one. This is Adventure. So if you've seen the Scott Adams games, this is a compilation of all the adventure games by Scott Adams you could play at the time in text-only form, so no graphics. So just the interactive fiction part of it. Let's see what the box looks like. This is same thing we've seen for the TI-99 computers. It includes the Adventure solid-state software, so not just Adventureland, all the other ones. It has the Count and several other things, several of the other adventure games you could play in this one. All right, so you can see we got the disc showing here, but we're actually going to be playing, it's November 20th, 1981. We're going to be playing this on cartridge because the cartridge was the fastest way I could get the TI-99 to run. But here's the problem. When I select Adventure, watch what happens in the game. Oh, there we go. We got a title screen, 1981 Adventure International. We press any key to begin, and it says, where's the database? Well, here's the thing. You're supposed to be playing this either on disc or on cassette, and then you point to where the other games are in the collection. But for whatever reason, whoever made this on the cartridge didn't program the database in. It's like they, it's a dump that someone put on, and they didn't realize that you have to point it to a certain place. So if anybody does have a disc version of this or a cassette version, let me know, or a way to play this on cartridge, because right now the only way I can play the TI-99 is through cartridge format. But anyway, if I type in like CS1, it's going to look for rewinding the cassette, because we're looking for cassette tape 1, but it doesn't have one. So sadly, we can't check out the entire collection. But for the purpose of being in 1981, this would be amazing. A really good piece of software that you could play for your TI-99 with all those adventure games. So this one it's up there because it's better than just one adventure game. This is a collection of everything Scott Adams had at the time, text only, mind you. All right, so we're going to go with, while we're not able to showcase it on the channel, it's still a 4.5. It's still way up there for someone that really wanted a lot of adventure games. This would be essentially, I'm guessing, months and months of gameplay to check this one out. It would be pretty cool. All right, so after Adventure, a nice collection for your TI-99, let's move on to our next release.
Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program.
All right, from one home computer to another, here we go. We're back on the TRS-80 Color Computer. And what did they give that little girl? Oh my gosh, she's flipping out over the color computer. Did you see the arcade games with my color computer? This is the Black Sanctum, the first one, which was text only. And the only thing we have is an advertisement for it as far as artwork, because I don't believe it had a box, or we couldn't find a box for this one. So just an advertisement for that one. Let's pop it in and see the latest TRS-80 Color Computer game. All right, just like before, we're playing all these on disc, trying to get them as fast as we can. And trying to load them as fast as we can with machine language, and if you don't run it machine language, it won't work, obviously. Got it confused with basic. Yeah, it's still a little slow to load, that's true. But I'm with the... I'm with them on the cartridge form, or the solid state of the TI-99. That's the way to go. So here you go. Mark Data Productions presents Adventure. 1981. In this venture, you'll meet with the forces of black magic. You must find and destroy this evil to win the game. At times, you'll find a need for certain items to do things, but a good adventurer will be resourceful and figure a way around these problems. Happy adventuring. Press any key to proceed. Now, at this time, I thought it would be a longer gap between graphic adventure games and text-only. And we're still seeing Zork 2, which is higher end, way better text parser than anything else we've seen. But we're still seeing text-only adventure games without graphics. And I just thought it would be a lot... In my experience with the history of video games before doing the channel, I thought there'd be a big gap between when we had graphics and text-only. But no, it looks like the graphic or pictures came really quick. We are going to see when they start doing like animation around like 1984. That's whenever the adventure genre starts to get, blow up even bigger with games like King's Quest. But here we go. This is it. We're still in 1981, and this is a text-only game. Do we want to play a saved game? No. I'm in a rugged mountain country. There are a lot of pine trees and snow is falling. Visible items are here, a cabin in the distance. I see a way to go north, south, east, and west. Welcome to Black Sanctum Adventure. What should I do? Eat snow. You don't understand eat snow? See, I love playing with these text parsers to see what they figure out. Zork is the coolest one. They kind of get a little bit more. But the Scott Adams adventures and a lot of these smaller text adventures, they don't understand the obscure weird stuff. So if you do north, oh my gosh, you don't understand in? Do we have to type north? What? You don't understand north? Go north. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that one yet. A text adventure game that didn't do in or north. You had to actually type go north. So we're in the rugged mountain country again. There's lots of pine trees and snow is falling. I see a way to go north, south, east, and west. Yes, we have to type the whole thing, though. Go east. Go east. Wow. Oh, we're going to be just lost in the mountains. So the Black Sanctum, where you can be lost in the mountains for the first part of the game. All right, so for a little taste of Black Sanctum, I know I could play a little bit further to see as far as the writing goes, because there's little nuances with text adventure games, but the parser wasn't as impressive. We're going to go subpar, considering the other games you could play for the time. And because it didn't have as many graphics, I'm thinking even 2 stars for Black Sanctum. There's a game coming out that we'll see as the remake, which has graphics for it, but we'll do 2 stars right now for the Black Sanctum. And with that, let's move to our next game. It's the other one. So this is, we're still on the TRS-80 Color Computer, and this is Calixto Island. Yeah, we don't do as well either. Unless they have something a little more to give us, or we understand the historical significance of why it was cool in 1981. So here you go. This is the other one that has been remade with graphics, but this is text only. The only thing we have is, that's it. 2 different advertisement flyers. It came with the same Black Sanctum and Calixto Island. So it's the original was text only. But we have a manual for this one. Nice. Wait a second. High res. Okay, wait. If it says high res, that means it's supposed to have pictures, which means this might be the manual for the newer version, but don't see a copyright for it. Yeah, this is text only. The original in 1981 was. Yeah, it's the newer one. Okay, so let's pop it and play. It's November 20th, 1981, and this is the other release, Calixto Island. What's on the disc? Most likely it's Calixto. Oh, it's probably identical. Yeah, I can see that too. Load. Calixto. Have you been to Calixto Island? Do you know any place called Calixto Island? It sounds like it's one of those made-up places like Bleep Blorp. We're going to Bleep Blorp, the fantasy world. Your goal in this adventure is to find a treasure and return... Okay, we already know that. It's the same title screen. Do you want to play a save game? No. I'm in Professor Legato's comfortable study. Visible items here are a flight of stairs, a roll-top desk, an oriental rug, an antique table. Nice. We're not in the middle of the snow-covered mountaintop, so that's good. Look table. Whoa. Look table. There's a message here. Read message. Oh, I'm typing too fast for the parser. There you go. The message reads, the professor's notes should give some clues. Okay? That's what we're reading. Are we reading the professor's notes? Look again. Can we look around? Okay, so visible items are flight of stairs, roll top. Get that rug. Get rug. Okay, wow. There's a trapdoor under it. Oh, nice. Open door. What in the world? Sometimes the emulator is trying to give you the exact same feel of the keyboard, and if I'm on a modern keyboard, obviously I'm not using the same for the Coco, and sometimes it won't type the same way because it's trying to be the same computer. Open door! I found something. What do we find? Look. Oh, a ladder leading to a cellar. Go ladder. It's dark here. I can't see. Look harder. I don't understand. Look harder. Light match. I don't understand. Of course you don't. These text adventure games don't understand me. Oh, great. There we go. That's probably what it is. All right, so for Calixto Island, it's about the same as we saw for the last game. Text adventure game, if you are into it, it's awesome. I want to give props. It's 1981. If you had the Coco and this was the only two games you had, like Sanctum and Calixto, because your dad saw it in an ad, then you would give it lots of playtime and it would be amazing. But for everything else we played on the channel, we're still going to go for, what did we say, 2 stars for the last one? What was Black Sanctum? Yeah, 2 stars. So we're going to do 2 stars for the original text adventure games of Black Sanctum and Calixto. But tune in, because we will see the graphic versions of these later. All right, and with that, let's move on to our next game. No, it's Bill Cosby again. He's back. There's so many computers this time. We don't need to buy a TI-99. This is the next release for the TI-99. This is Car Wars. All right, so let's go on and see what the box is like. Car Wars. The solid-state software command module. It's your car against the computer in this exciting race. Score points by outmaneuvering the computer's car as it tries to run you off the track. I love how these scans are giving us the price point. We got 3 different prices there. It went from $39.99 to $35.96 to, I believe, is that $13.95? It's getting price cut. Poor Car Wars. I really hope we can fight things, because on the Coco we fought as dinosaurs with Dino Wars. So can we fight as cars? That'd be so cool. All right, anything else for images? There's the example of the cartridge, solid-state cartridge for Car Wars, and that's it. Oh, it's head-on. Okay. All right, we have a manual for Car Wars. Let's check it out. There is the sleeve, and then past the sleeve, we have... Again, they're giving us the keyboard controls, but I don't know why. We have a joystick we're plugged in. We're going to totally play this joystick. All right, so Car Wars. Programmer James E. Dramus. Way to go, James. Giving us Car Wars, or head-on for your TI-99. If you enjoy the excitement of high-speed racing combined with the challenge of outmaneuvering a canny opponent, this is your kind of game. I got to tell Greg Seward that you need to say that every time you talk about head-on. If you enjoy the excitement of high-speed racing combined with the challenge... Anyway, using the solid-state software command module, there you go. How do you use this? I want to get this cartridge in there. Getting started, you select the module. A demonstration of Car Wars begins. And then you can choose your car speed, creeping, fast, or flying. And then it shows how the cars speed up and slow down. I really don't think we need the manual for this one, because it's the same thing we played. Yeah, it's the same idea. It does show you how the scoring goes, but man, it's a lot of text for, it's basically head-on. If you were one of those people that didn't play the original, and this was your original, then there you go. This is Car Wars. The head-on version you could play... Or what was the other? We played lots of other head-on type games or variations of it.
The whole world So,
All right, if we need to, we'll refer back to the manual, but I don't think so. All right, this is the one, the TI-99. Here we go, November 20th, 1981, and we're playing Car Wars for your TI-99. All right, here we go. Let's do it. Pushing 2 for Car Wars, and we're in. What nice, it has an attract mode like an arcade game. Oh, it's moving so fast, though. Oh my gosh. So I'm not playing, it's just going through a normal sequence here. Let's press any key to begin. It's not allowing us to play 2 players. Interesting. This is another game for the TI that isn't 2 players. That's bizarre. So computer speed, we want creeping, we want fast, or we want flying. I love how that's not just easy, medium, hard. It's awesome. Let's start with creeping, see what that's like. And I want to go back this time to get the right. There we go. All right, so computer car speed up. Let's make it late. So we're going to start with easy mode. I'm the red car on the right. And pressing any key. Yep, joystick works. Nice. Does the joystick... Yes, okay, so it allows us to speed... I'm playing on the easiest mode and already crashed. I'm trying to get used to the controls. All right, so pushing any key to begin. Yes, it's like super fast Rally X or head-on, or... There's so many variations we've seen so far, and it's just going to be more and more later. All right, going past this buddy here. There we go, got him. No! Man, the TI-99 looks good. It looks so good and plays so well. Is it going to let me... Yeah, it does. So we got the boost like we did in the arcade, which is nice. And the pieces of car flying off his shrapnel is awesome. We've seen different games do that. All right, so let's go back. And let's do crazy fast now. Let's do flying. And we're going to do lookout. So now we're playing on the hardest. Here we go. It's crazy fast. Oh, yeah, nice. Whoa, that is... I think that's the fastest version of Rally X or Head-On we've played. Oh, wait, someone said... Oh, it's not Rally X, it's Head-On. Rally X would be more open world. But man, that's fast. This is the fastest version we played on. Yeah, I can barely keep up with it. That's for the true experts. Game over. All right, so let's go back again. Let's try flying, and let's do late. So it looks like they're going to make the computer... when the car will speed up to us, which is nice. So you get like different variations of how to play it. Oh, that's right. Dodge'em was the other name. Dodge'em? That was the Atari one, and then in the arcade by Sega was Head-On. All right, I want to get over... There it is. Ah! So much fun. Okay, let's make our way inside. Knock that one out. There we go. Go outside. No! Very cool. That's great. Fun to play, and like the games we played on TI-99, well, cartridge at least, they will all work fantastic.
The home computer.
All right, so with that game is a really good home port of that. Definitely above average, 4 stars for sure. Do I want to go even further with it? Considering everything else we've seen so far, we gave the Ataris, I think, 4.5. And so this is the same. I'm going to do 4.5 stars for Car Wars. One of the best games you could play for the time. Yeah, up there with Dodge'em. It's very well done. But wait, no, it does not have 2 players. This was a 1-player only game, so we're going to go 4 stars. It didn't have all the variations that Dodge'em had, but still gets the job done. All right, so with that, we are going to put our show on pause again. So many games to play, so many places to go to, home computers to play, consoles. We will catch you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.